right, perfect. Everything is up and running. And this works now. Perfect, perfect. So, some quite interesting things we can talk about today. First of all, welcome in, as usual. And yeah, quite some interesting things we have to talk about. We finished up for Project X quite, yeah, let's say the rough numbers, right? Rough numbers for the pre-launch and everything. We can talk about this. It's today. I would like to have the fund AMA since I wasn't able to make it yesterday in the evening. And yeah, we can quickly take a scoop over the fund itself, and then we are able to look at the pre-launch numbers for Project X, right? We will have a poster finished up for Project X, so I will basically just drop in the raw numbers for now, and then we are able to share the pre-launch numbers with all the rates and allocations and all of that stuff into the chat. Will be very interesting, very interesting. But let's start off first with our usual business. Let's start with our fund itself. So I was also talking to our blockchain dev, basically, because I'm a little bit pressing on the things getting finished now, especially with the dashboard update, the first integration of charity, and then finishing up private sale and crowd sale platform. As we said before, quite a lot of the people from the dev team, they have been or are still at vacation for Ramadan, but this is totally fine. And basically the changes should come very soon, as far as I know now, right? Nothing we could influence directly, because this is the whole blockchain development that needs the things going, right? Especially with some things missing, with Matic Algorand display missing, with the Moonrock investment missing, which altogether is quite a big chunk of everything. Then the fix for the graph itself. This is something which we need as well. All right. Fix for the graph itself, because it is quite nice to look at, but then again, this did happen with the actual changes for BNB, and this will be fixed with the new update. I hope they can get it fixed. Otherwise, we need to set it up new. Delete all the recent transactions, delete the graph, and then basically add every single transaction we had again into everything, which would be quite annoying. Can tell you this takes quite some time. All right, but let's take a look, right? Because for this week, until now, no BNBs added. This will come over the course of the weekend. Some more BNBs will drop in to be ready as an investment. Right now, sitting at roughly 15 BNBs or BNB in total. Quite a good number which we accumulated. Then again, also over the course of the weekend, there will come up the MetaRafi property poll for the BSC investments, and in addition, the buyback and burn poll. We will keep this, since I honestly don't think they will be ready with the dashboard update, because our vote system has a flaw in it. If you use certain wallets, it's not working correctly. This is why we will use Telegram in itself, but this shouldn't be a problem, really. Shouldn't be a problem. Most important part is we can start the polls. So I will put together pros and cons, for example, for MetaRafi land sale, and then we are able to vote. Basically, this will be a mix also for MetaRafi, part property investment for the metaverse, and part tokens, which you can then use to stake. price is looking very fine as an investment at the moment, like most of the things out there, due to the market conditions at the moment, right? As you might be all aware, a lot of projects are sitting in a dip, which is totally fine. Yeah, this is the normal up and down movement in charts. In crypto, you have like very big impacts on the charts, but then again, something we need to work on because the prices are actually very, very good at the moment. All right. So we had a little bit of BUSD flowing in. Moon tokens, I said this already last time. We did withdraw our staking, so we have been sitting on roughly 8 million Moon tokens. Now we are sitting on 12 million Moon tokens. This shows again power of staking, right? Then again, also Moon itself, as nearly every project out there, they are also sitting in a dip in this current market. But I also talked to the dev of Moon. The DEX is like mostly ready to go. Now they are just waiting for the right conditions to drop the DEX. DEX itself looks amazing for Moon, can tell you. So hopefully we will see some traction coming in there from the Moon side. Otherwise, as you can see, no huge changes there. Prices fluctuate, of course, and still missing our Algorand. And wait, which one was missing? No, I said it before already. Give me a second. Yeah, Matic and Algorand are missing in the display, which is also quite annoying, right? I want to have this displayed already, so we see everything is at place and working fine. So after the MetaRafi poll this weekend, we will set up another poll coming. So basically this poll coming this weekend will only be for MetaRafi itself. So basically a yes or no question there. If you need any further info for MetaRafi, just ask me. As I said, I will add a pro and con list or kind of list to it, so everyone has a quick overview why we should invest, why we should maybe not invest as the fund. But then again, will be quite interesting. After this, some more BSC polls, as we stated before, looking at various different BSC projects there, and then we will follow up with the Ethereum chain. Basically the first time which we will have polls on the Ethereum chain, which is also very interesting in itself, right? So another very big thing, very big part for the fund upcoming thing is of course Project X, as you are all aware already, right? So for Project X, we are basically creating a roof fund with BD Capital. So BD Capital will receive a team vesting of Project X, which is rather a big holding there. And this vesting, let's say the biggest upside on this particular addition to the fund is that we do not have to invest any money on it, right? This is one of the biggest parts. So basically we have a risk-free position there, which is a very large position. And we are also, you could say, on the board of Project X, trying to let our experience and connections and everything flow in. But I'm pretty hyped for Project X itself, right? Tell you I will buy some tokens myself at the various early sales, and let's see how this will ultimately evolve. I'm looking forward a lot to it, can tell you, looking forward a lot to it. So basically now let me do this thing, because this is something which is also affecting us, or not us, but the bankers directly. 1 second. Here we have it. Up. So as I said before, we will do this as a poster. I just want this to be in here so we can take a look at it together. Need to just edit it a little bit for YouTube, otherwise I cannot. Drop it in the chat. So I will split it in 2 different messages. So then we are able to take a look at it together. It's too big again. 1 second, just editing it for YouTube because this has a cap on actual signs can put in. All right, perfect. So, pre-launch allocations, why is this important? This is important for our, let's say, for our fund, and of course for every single one in here who wants to participate, just to know roughly the actual conditions of it. So as we can see for Project X, we come up with a total supply of 75 million tokens in total. Now this is completely different, for example, to BD Capital, because BD Capital in itself, this has this quadrillion supply, right? 1 quadrillion initial supply was for BD Capital, and now we see in comparison here a total supply of 75 million. This was chosen, of course, for a particular reason, because as you can see, the starting MC will be around 700,000-ish. We did calculate this on prices of BNB sitting at $380 at the moment. Now it's a little bit under $380, and AVAX sitting at $60. So AVAX is important. This is the native token of the Avalanche chain, and this will be token. Basically, the BNB of Avalanche is AVAX, right? Pretty important because Project X itself will run on Avalanche. So why did we choose this kind of starting numbers? There is a reason for it. Basically, the listing price will be 1 cent per token, right? And of course, the first ultimate goal to hit is a $1 price. So this is of course something psychological to go for. If you play around with the total supply numbers, the price per token will fluctuate, right? So we did choose this supply here to get this goal of $1 in, let's say, very close reach, such as an early goal. Will be very, very interesting here. Now you can see already from this total supply, we have a allocation of 40% into staking. So what you can maybe see in this one, there will be a staking process involved in Project X, which we come up with directly after launch. Very important part here. You will see 25% of the total supply is held back for exchanges, right? So this is also a very important part. If you structure a project this way, holding back bigger chunks for actual exchange listings and as marketing reserve, you are able to get a lot going, especially early on. This is also quite a interesting part here, right, with exchange listings. The actual trade supply is roughly 35%. Now there comes these important parts, right? Just some quick math parts, because this is actually important. The whale fund will receive 6.9% of the trade supply, and the team vesting, so this is basically for the founders team there, is 6% of the trade supply. Now very important here, these allocations of whale fund and team, they are not calculated on the total supply. We did this mistake honestly in the first few calculations, and of course what you saw there, since we have staking 40% used for staking of the total supply and 25% held back for exchanges. So this is also not in circulation. Only 35% in total are in circulation. If you now calculate the team vesting and the whale fund vesting from the total supply, it would be huge. This is good for the team and the whale fund and everything, but then again, it's completely unfair for the normal investors. This is why we did choose to calculate the actual vestings only on the trade supply. So from the 75 million total supply, we did only calculate from 35% there of the total supply the actual vestings, with 6% for the team, 6.9% of the trade supply, right? Kind of important there, because this, of course, if you do the math, whale fund and team will receive way less tokens, right? Way less tokens there, but then again, it is a lot fairer for investors, right? And way more sustainable here. So now comes the very, very interesting part. Wait a second. Now I see this here. All right. Everything in there. The seed round. Oh, 1 second. Need to sneeze. No. All right. Back at it again. Now comes the interesting part. Seed round is basically the earliest founding round, right? We will keep the seed round for BD Capital holders only. So basically everyone who is in our community is able to get their hands on, let's say, the earliest possible investment here. Don't worry, every single information which is needed to actually make a decision if you want to participate or if you do not want to participate will be revealed over time, right? But then again, very important here, this has, of course, the biggest bonus on top. If you participate in the seed round, you will get 25% on top of your tokens. So as you can see here, we are looking to collect 40 BNB or 256 AVAX in total for the seed round, for the early funding. The private sale will have a 17.5% of tokens on top with a 80 BNB and 512 AVAX capped there. And the actual pre-sale will have a 10% bonus added on tokens as well. 250 BNB hard cap there, or yeah, let's say 1,600 AVAX. We did always include the BNB prices because I know we are all used to the BNB prices, so this makes it way easier to calculate. As you can see from the actual pre-sale, right, this is no super high pre-sale, but also no super low pre-sale. We did try to choose let's say a good middle way here, right, with 250 BNB worth at the hard cap. This makes it a normal sized pre-sale actually, which is important because we didn't want to run into two issues there, with issue one being the one we had in BD Capital. If you launch as a very, very, very low cap pre-sale, people will accumulate huge wallets, and this of course brings always a big risk into the chart itself. If you set up the numbers for the actual pre-sale way too high, then you will run into a actual movement problem there, right? Because people will receive very, very small allocations for their money. So basically, this is what you can see here. Down there, with seed, private, pre-sale, and listing rate, you see the actual token amounts, right? See the actual token amounts there per BNB or per AVAX. As said before, this is just the rough numbers, which I did pick out of our chat. We will make a appropriate poster for it, right? We just basically didn't have time to actually finish the post on everything. And I did think, come on, now we have some time to actually set everything up and have something to show for the people, because this is quite kind of important. Because as you can see here, this is the very interesting part for BD Capital itself, right? Or basically for the fund itself. The fund will receive 6.9% of the trade supply. as a vesting for the fund. Of course, no one needs to be scared. The fund or anything else won't dump on Project X or something like this. So nothing to be scared of. But this is quite a big chunk, right? Quite a big chunk there for the fund. And this is, of course, intentionally done, because this roof fund project, this inclusion in the fund itself, and us putting down the actual time for everything, and I can tell you, organizing and working out an actual launch is a lot of work beforehand. And so basically this is like a very big share for the fund. Now what is the very positive thing for the fund itself? Basically, you will see, especially if Project X is a success, right? You will see a big boost for the fund. Now, as we can see here, of course, the early goal, so I don't want to release too much information yet, but then again, you could, if you follow my words, yeah, you could maybe hear out some intentions we have with Project X, right? So as you can see, the listing price is at exactly 1 cent, right? I won't give out too much information, don't worry. The listing price is at 1 cent. The initial goal, of course, the early goal, yeah, this is not something which we will achieve after 2 days and everything. There's still some time. We need to actually achieve the goal. But of course, the goal is, that's why we did choose the supply the way it is, that's why we did choose the numbers the way they are, is to actually hit $1 per token. Right? If we hit $1 per token, you will have, make the math, from the listing price a 100x. Right? It's very straightforward numbers here. If we hit $1, we did make a 100x. Very important here. So why is this so? Because we have some things planned, right, to actually pull this off, of course. The same way we pulled a 150x early on off for BD Capital. As you can see here, there's quite a big reserve for exchange listings, right? And let's keep it this way. I don't think the team has the intention to sit on the tokens for a very, very long time, right? So this is just something, just as a little tease there, right? Of course, everything needs time to actually put up and everything, right? And again, this is something which I can tease already, right? This is why we are working, or the way we are working towards to, is of course creating something rather big here, right, with Project X. The more successful Project X is, the better for the actual whale fund, right? So we did make some, if you make a very rough calculation, once we hit $1, you see our whale fund sitting at 1 million in holdings. And this is the very interesting part for us in BD Capital, right? This is the biggest boost you can have to the actual fund holdings if you make this a success. As you can maybe see, right? We are putting a lot of thought into Project X to structure everything, let's say, point 1 fair, point 2 safe. These are like the biggest things here. And to make everything work, you need the right base calculations, right? Especially with something as the actual whale fund and team, not taken off the total supply. This would be huge amounts of tokens, but actually just taking it from the trade supply to make it more fair for anyone. From this allocation, as I said before, you can see there is some sort of staking somehow involved in Project X, right? This is not the only thing, don't worry. The main utility is something very, very interesting. The most exciting part about the main utility is actually that, I suppose, from my calculations, you will have this up and running in the first few weeks. Not entirely up and running, right? But in a way up and running that it is generating yield already, which can then be put out to every single one in here. Now, again, I need to choose my words wisely here, because I can actually not spill too much information. But I think from this little sheet here, there is plenty of information already, also for the future of Project X, right? With a bigger chunk reserved for exchange listings, with the listing price, in which you can see like obvious calculations we are doing there. I guess quite a lot of information there. With staking in some form, right? Can tell you now the exact form and everything. But also when launch, it takes some time. First, so just as a little time frame we can put out. We are looking for the actual team running Project X, and a full reveal, like the name reveal and the more detailed reveal. Of course, we want to have the Project X team on an AMA here next week, right? Now, from the rough time frame planning, it will be like mid to end of next week, of course, announced early enough. But then again, we need to clear out some details here. We want them to be on the AMA itself, right? Very big bonus, of course, for this project itself is there will be a full KYC and everything for every single team member being involved there. Cracovia is, or will most likely set up contract dashboard and everything, staking, etc., right? Which is big itself already. He is a very, very well-known and a very skilled blockchain developer in the space. And once we have every detail set up, like I said before, mid to the end of next week, we will have the AMA with the core team of Project X, with revealing everything, right? And them sitting here talking about some previous or future plans they have with Project X. And with this, we will open the seed round, most likely, and the socials of Project X. Seed round, can tell you this won't last very long, at least from the informations I have already. And it might come to a overflow into private sale, which is fine, right? But then again, important here. From this point on, contract development starts, like the actual contract development. You just need to clear all the details beforehand, because I can tell you something we as a team in Project X are very, very keen for, is to have a very clean contract, right? We don't want any loopholes in there with, for example, minting functions which could be exploited. We do not want any loopholes in the staking contract, and all that kind of stuff. So this takes some time to map out correctly, to set up correctly. But in the end, just I think we had this quite some times in our like planning chat yesterday. We would rather be safe than sorry, right? Better give it one more thought, take 2 more days to actually map it out, control it 3 more times, instead of running into a issue there, right? So basically we're taking our time there. But you need this time as well, right? You want to create some hype beforehand, before the actual launch, before the pre-sale and everything. But you want to create some hype there. But basically this is like the near future plan. So with this AMA, I suppose most of the needed details will be ready for the AMA, and then everyone can decide if he wants to participate, if he doesn't want to participate, right? This is then up to you guys. But then again, very, very well thought here. I tell you, a lot of time is flowing into the actual thought process, the calculations, um, the future, let's say branding and everything is. It will be very, very, very interesting. Okay, quite some news to drop out here. So this is something which we can expect mid to end next week. We will have the AMA with them being here, and with the AMA we will open like the socials and start the actual seed round and funding phase, right? Don't want to spill too much information. Oh, but I just, 75 million was my allocation I was allowed to get. I will be hard to buy the whole supply. I think kind of impossible. But then with the question when launch, yeah, as soon as everything is set up, right? There again, rather take a few more days beforehand, make it correctly, make the background work correctly, do the initial marketing work and all of that, and then you're able to go. There's even more, right? So just as a little teaser, it won't, as I said before, sit at staking, and this is the use case, right? The staking you could think of is just a kind of replacement there. Kind of replacement. I won't go into detail. We'll leave this for the core team until next week. But this is something you can expect, right? This is not like our main utility or something. No, of course not. Staking is just a short-term yield generator there. All right. All infos will be revealed soon. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Be sure of that part, right? Okay. Do we have questions regarding this one? I will just take this opportunity and grab a drink really quick. All right. Look forward to seeing the utility and the marketing to get others into Project X. To the HNA, I can tell you. Yeah, I think with the actual numbers and allocations, we did tease a little bit there, right? Because as I said before, I don't think, like, besides the normal marketing you do pre-launch and after launch, right? But then again, I don't think the team has the intention to sit a very long time on allocations which are used for exchange listings, right? Just something to look forward. The cat, it's hard because I know all the information, right? I know all of the informations. I know like every detail until now, and it is hard to not put out some like deep facts which are not which I am not able to share at the moment. So I'm, yeah, kind of hard, but teasing a little bit is always okay, I guess. So quite some things flowing around. Something interesting can also tell you. Let me just quickly take a look if I can actually put this out. 1 second. All right, now should be fine. So there is. How much can we buy in the seed round max per person? We will need to come up with a cap, honestly, in some form. Um, because the seed round is exclusive to BD Capital only, right? So we are not making very big marketing around it or anything. And it is honestly not a very, very high cap in addition. So we need a cap, but we didn't figure out the actual number yet. But we need a cap, so basically anyone has the actual chance to get their hands on some seed round tokens, right? But I guess, yeah, because then, for example, I myself want to also jump in privately with a investment, a seed round investment, but I can also split it up or move into another part like pre-sale or whatever, right? Private sale. Not a big issue there for me, for example. Yeah, exactly. And then of course we also have the option of overflowing into private as well. It's just, of course, somehow we cannot like collect more and more and more and more tokens. What? Ah, sorry. We cannot collect more and more and more money there and hand out more and more tokens because something you need to understand. If you look at the allocations and the actual rates, right? We cannot change like the actual amount of tokens given out. For example, in the seed round, because if we do this, we would run into a issue in which nothing in the calculation actually fits anymore, right? So of course we need to do this correctly. So my mom, gotta go, Paul. We are now in front of Schloss Neuschwanstein. Have a good day. See you tomorrow. Yes, have a lot of fun there at Schloss Neuschwanstein. For the people which are not aware, this is actually my mother there. Also a banks investor, right? I have a jigsaw puzzle of that castle. Yeah, it's a very nice castle. Right, very nice castle. If you ever visit here in this region, try to make some room to visit Schloss Neuschwanstein. This is, uh, yeah, very interesting there. But Jade, we will work out something, right? We will work out something as the actual cap. Um, Most likely we'll work it out with with the actual opening of the social, so we can see some of the yeah, let's say people flowing in, because we have already a lot of confirmations, which is basically like nearly filling up the seed round itself already. So of course we need to attach a cap on it. Okay, bucket list for Oktoberfest 2022. Yeah, this is still open, right? This is still open. As we said before, so basically with the very early launch of Banker Stream and BD Capital, we said, all right, if we hit 50 million in market cap, we want to organize a let's say real life event in which basically anyone could join in Germany itself. Yeah, having the possibility to meet us actually in person and just to have a good time together, for example, on the Oktoberfest. Would be quite a lot of fun, right? If COVID is not like canceling our plans. Because in Stuttgart, we had recently, sorry, we recently had the Vasen, which is basically also like the Oktoberfest, um, but yeah, in Stuttgart itself. And we didn't have no of this actual beer, how do you call them in English, beer tents So the places which the people use to actually make a lot of party, um, they haven't been up sadly this time. There was no Oktoberfest or Vasen in the past few years, also sadly due to COVID. But yeah, let's see. I think they will set it up again. And Paul buys first round. I heard yes, of course. Honestly, it's an easy one for me, right? Because I know the details and everything. I know the team, so it's an easy one for me. But I will leave my spot honestly open if there is like the issue of us running into having not enough space for everyone. All right. When can I participate in seed sales? We will have, Abel, we will have the core team in our AMA next week. They will talk like detailed stuff of Project X. And with this, so you can expect this mid to end of next week. And with this, we will open most likely the socials and start the actual seed round. So this is when you are able to participate. But just also because I was receiving this question also, you do not, for the actual seed round, you do not need to participate, for example, in AVAX directly. You can also participate just as we are all used to in BNB, for example. It is just, of course, the pre-sale, the actual pre-sale will be done in AVAX, right? Other things wouldn't make sense, really. But yeah, like mid to end of next week, Abel. Will be interesting, especially with the launch price sitting at 1 cent, right? I like this kind of stuff because you're not handling like too many zeros there in which you say, next goal is killing a zero, for example, but you have an actual goal in which you say, hey, we go for $1, and then after $1, of course, the next goal is hitting $2, right? So this is very, very interesting. Chain will be Avalanche chain, Mr. Moon. Avalanche chain with the native token AVAX. Only thing you need to be sure of, for example, if you use MetaMask, you need the C chain. You need to actually use the C chain. This is the chain of Avalanche with the smart contracts and everything involved. But yeah, this will be interesting because Avalanche chain is recently also getting a lot of traction, right? Because I can tell you a lot of people are, for example, staying away completely of BSC to various reasons. So of course we are getting, or that the goal is to get into a new chain, also for other reasons, right? As I said before, there is not only staking involved early on, right? Not only staking, also other things which I cannot share right now. But this is going to be very, very, very interesting. Avalanche chain, but for the seed round, don't worry, you don't need to own, for example, any AVAX or something else. You can also participate in BNB, for example. We keep it simple, right? Keep it simple without making it very complicated for everyone. All right. So basically, you will see a poster as soon as we have the poster ready, with this informations being put together in a nice way, in a good looking way. We will share this, of course, through the socials. And once this is done, you will expect as a time frame mid to end of next week. We will have the core team over, and with the core team being here, having the AMA here, you will be able to join the socials, right? Will be very interesting, I can tell you. Just want to share like the details because I can tell you last night we've been working like very, very long for the actual staking calculations and double check the calculations of the rates and everything. And if you're done with the rough calculations, then this is the time in which you are getting like really excited. And then in addition, there are other things coming up as well, right? With a well, I can't tease it or something like this really right now. But we we will be talking about this kind of stuff, right? Early enough, early enough. But then again, if you take a look from BD Capital itself, right? Um, as you can see, this has huge potential for our fund, right? Huge potential for our fund. With 6.9% of the trade supply being used for the fund vesting, this has huge potential for our fund. As I said before, rough calculations, if we pull off the $1 from the listing price, fund will be sitting at around $1 million in total holdings only from here, and will be doing a decent amount of income generation as well as yield generation, right? This is why we are doing this as the roof fund. If you try to pull this off with only investments, of course you can be lucky in an ICO or something like this, but you are never in control, right? You are not, or not in control is something, is like the wrong way to state it, but you cannot influence it heavily, right? With your knowledge, with your network and everything. With this, you are able to influence it in some form. You are able to set it up in the correct way, and you are able to structure something which will be very, very interesting, right? AJ dropped in. Okay, so this little fund update part and also Project X update part. Some more questions. What can we do to help the project besides investing? What can we do? Do the same thing as you did right now, until now, right? But then once the socials are opened, I can tell you a very, very powerful tool in a project is the community. We saw this in BD Capital, with the community being like heavily involved in the 150x. This doesn't mean that we run around and like chill basically everywhere, but we can use the community, right? Just being active in there, putting up some hype beforehand, and talking to other people. I can tell you this helps a lot, right? Does Project X have any utility? Yes, Harish. Yes, but I can't share the details yet. If you take a look at the pinned allocations, you see there is a staking allocation. So 40% of the supply are used for staking. This is always done this way. Always done this way. Yeah, he is in the IMA, AJ. So basically this staking will be the first yield generator for the token holders, and this is getting replaced then. I don't think this will take very long, honestly, but this is getting replaced then by a real utility, a real use case there for Project X as well. Don't worry, we are not structuring something with no utility. Not a fan of this. If I had a friend wanting to invest but wasn't in BD, which stage would he or she be able to buy in at? Private sale. Utilities king, definitely true. Definitely true. There are a lot of projects. They're sitting at market caps and they have honestly like no utility going, and they are sitting in the millions and millions of market cap. So nah, nah. You cannot expect something like this from us, of course. There again, also in Beast, structured in a way, right? We want the things to. Can I say that? Yes, I can say that. We want the things not to rush into anything, right? But have a very, very, very nice things to look forward to as an investor. Trying to get them over the line. They just invest in BTC and ETH and don't stray from that, no matter what at the moment. Yeah, I mean, it's a solid, right? BTC, Ethereum, and everything solid. Solid investments, really. Mods doing what they do best. Yes. No, but honestly, private is the time for him to also join in. Otherwise, of course, there's always the pre-sale and everything. So your friend should be fine, really. Your friend should be fine. Great investing, but they never get on quicker horses to build their wealth in BTC and Ethereum. Been here a week and I'm loving it. Yeah, definitely, right. This is something like in the altcoin market. You can see this big jumps, right? This 50x, 80x, 100x, 150x, as we've done it, for example, even 1000x, or if you're looking at other things, there a couple of thousand of x's sometimes, like very rarely. But then again, of course, this is, yeah, this is like a horse you could use, right? If you do it correctly, if you stay away from, yeah, maybe bad to say, right? But if you stay away from like very, very memey stuff, which is just trying to copycat, for example, Doge and Shiba, don't get me wrong, they are performing very well many of times. But then again, right, if you try to search for decent ones, there are a couple of projects out there which you can, like 20x, 30x, 40x, honestly. Yeah, and this is the thing. Let's say Bitcoin does a 2x, right? This is very solid from the investment side, but people in crypto tend to be bored of a 2x. Like, yeah, even imagine this switch of thinking, right? So in traditional finance, if you made like 100% increase of your portfolio, for example, in 1 year, people are like, wow, crazy, right? Crazy, 100% increase with your portfolio. But then if you compare it to crypto, it's just as Spinezzi said, like, honestly, people tend to be bored of, these are huge gains, honestly, 100% gain. But people say, just a 2x. I wanted to have like a 20x at least, right? Yeah, definitely. I was also in, I don't remember the exact price. I bought Solana at 35 to $40 ish, something like this. And they did very, very well. Very well. Was right, but then again, this was some decent access to be made. But in the altcoin market, if you are looking at that, the people are in the altcoin market for a specific reason, right? The reason is the 1000x, for example. They want to hit the 1000x. Of course, they also need to bring some time to hit the 1000x, for example. But then again, you have the option, or not the option, but you have the actual chance of pulling this off in the altcoin market, right? You have the chance, definitely. I wish I got it that cheap. Yeah, somehow I was accumulating a lot of different stuff. Some stuff didn't move at all, right? Sometimes some stuff did move in a very, very positive way. But yeah, definitely, right? If it's still in beta when it drops alpha, it could be seriously elite. Definitely. A lot of very interesting things still in crypto. And I can tell you, like every single one in here, crypto is super young still. Super young. This is what you can also see from the, for example, regulation side. There are like nearly no regulations yet for crypto. Now it slowly starts with the regulation process, right? Sometimes like the, yeah, I would call it foot news, right? People are trying to scare other people with some, oh, if this law is coming into crypto, it will be the death of Bitcoin or something like this. But we'll see. We will see, honestly. All right, XRP. Yes, XRP. It's also one which I say, you could be getting interesting also in the near future, right? All right, people. So we got some little details out. Got some little details out. We have a little bit of a time frame we can hand out with mid to end of next week, in which the core team will join with an AMA. Be there, like definitely be there. Try to attend the AMA. Ask your questions. Try to get as many details out of them as possible, right? Very important. And then with the socials opening, yes, Balboa, there will be a max allocation per holder for seed, but we didn't quite figure out the number yet. Kind of hard to figure out. It will be most likely figured out in the whole process of opening socials, etc., right? Because we did some rough calculations, and if we had like no cap, the actual seed round is like nearly filled already, and this is like not the intention we try to do. We want to keep a spot open for as many people as possible. This is why we definitely will need a max allocation. Okay. So, thanks. Yes. Don't worry. All right. So we did put out some numbers here. Mid to end next week. Expect the AMA. Expect the opening of the socials. Expect the details. I think there's quite a lot of stuff, as I said many times before, which you can see in the numbers and allocations and rates already, with staking and with other things like exchange listing reserves and stuff like this. Like, it's a lot you can already see in this very early in this numbers sheet. Then again, looking forward to next week, and until then, I would say big thank you for participating. Keep it up, people. Getting excited now for the actual start of the roof fund, right? We want to hit the $1 and have fun to have 1 million in holdings. And otherwise, big thank you. Wait, does it mean everyone will not get to participate in Project X and seed phrase? We try to keep it open for everyone who is interested. This is why we didn't put up a max allocation yet, right? Because you need to see like this initial flow of people first, which come over, and then you can calculate it. This is what we are trying to do. If we're hitting a overflow into private, which might happen, not bad at all. But then again, trying to have a spot open for everyone in seed phrase. This is what we're trying to do. But we need to wait actually before we can calculate it roughly. All right. Then again, big thank you we will hear each other again. And otherwise, enjoy the rest of the day or like whatever time zone you're sitting in, right? Big thank you here. And we will hear each other again. All right, people. Thank you and bye-bye.